Hey guys, today I'm here to talk about The Demon King by Cinda Williams Chima, however you say her name. Let's just I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm going to probably mispronounce a lot of different names in this discussion, so just be prepared. I'm sure you guys will correct me, and I'm sure by the time my second discussion goes up for The Exiled Queen, I'm sure by then I'll know how to say these names. So this is a fantasy series, if you've never heard of it. This book came out in like '09, so it's been out for a few years, but there's 4 books and I loved it. I thought it was so good. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. I was kind of kicking myself in the butt for not reading it sooner. It was so compelling, and to me it was a very unique story, and I, really liked the plot twist, and I was surprised by it, and it was just a very captivating story. And I read on Goodreads some people had some problems with the pacing, but I didn't at all. I actually thought it was really great. I liked all the world building, and I definitely think that this is setting up for a really amazing series. So for those of you that don't know, this is in 2 different perspectives. There's a princess, and then there's this kind of thief, and the story is actually following this queendom, which is where you find the princess. There's the clans, which is sometimes where you find Han. He's the other main character. He kind of goes back and forth. There's wizards, which this is one of the first stories I've read in a long time where the wizards are kind of looked at as the bad guys. And in the very beginning of this book, one of the main characters, Han, he's also called Hunsalone, that's his clan name. He and his friend Dancer encounter these wizards, Micah Bayer and his cousins or whoever they were. So they encounter these wizards, and that's just kind of where the story goes on from there. There's an amulet that's found that turns out to have a lot more history to it and a lot of evil connected to it, and these certain wizards will just never stop looking for this certain amulet. And I loved everything about this book. I loved the characters. I thought they were all super interesting. The princess, I'm not sure how to say her name. At one point I was calling her Raisa. I'm not really sure. Let's just call her the princess for now. I like that she was so strong-willed, and she isn't trying to just be this pretty thing. She actually wants to get out. She wants to see the world. She wants to someday be a really great queen, which I think her mother is not a good queen. I don't like her mom. But I do think it's really interesting that her father is from the clans, and I thought it was cool how at the start of this book she had just gone back from the clans, so she's been riding horses and fighting and all this awesome stuff that she loves, and she's, in many ways not what you would think of when you think of a princess. She's not like a girly girl at all, and so I like that about her. I liked her, and I'm excited to see where her story takes her. So I really don't want to say anything else. I don't want to spoil you guys. I just want you to read it and then come back and comment below. We'll talk about The Demon King, and I'm really excited to continue to read this series because this first one was just amazing. So naturally, I really hated Micah and Lord Bayer, and it sucks that, Raisa, her mom, is with the Lord Bayer. It sucks that she's in so deep and that she can't even see what she's doing. When I thought something similar like that was going to happen. I thought that her mom was definitely acting weird, and oh gosh, at her party, I figured it out that I thought that they were going to try and marry them together. I knew that it wasn't supposed to happen that way, and that because of the breaking and all of the naming and everything happening with that, but just they had talked about it so much that I thought about that. I figured that Lord Bayer is trying to get more power, and he's probably gonna try and use his son to weasel his way in there. So I just was freaking out. The whole scene with, before that, the whole scene with the seduction jewelry, whatever that was, it wasn't the amulet, it was her necklace. Oh my gosh, when they took off the necklace that Elena gave her, and when she started, she was basically drugged, and that was terrible. I was freaking out the whole time, and then later they're trying to marry her off, which in some ways was not as bad, because she at least wasn't drugged and stuff then, but they were trying to use spells and stuff on her, and luckily she had the ring on. It's weird to read a story where I like hate the wizard that I am hoping that they lose, but now by the end there's good wizards with Dancer and Han, so it's kind of like, I guess it's just gonna turn into, there's good wizards, there's bad wizards, there's good, you know, there's just like anything else, there's good and bad of everyone. But I'm really excited to see where it goes with that, like how Han stabbed Lord Bayer, and I can't wait for him to find out that Han Alistair is a wizard, but not just any wizard, the freaking descendant of the Demon King. I want him to be the one that like takes down Lord Bayer. I hate that man. I hate him. I definitely thought all the characters were interesting. I didn't think that there were any like extra characters where you were kind of sitting there reading and thinking like, why is this character here? What is their point? Because everyone I felt like had a point. And I really, really like Han, and he, I feel like in many ways, is what just made this book. With learning about his history and with his mom and his sister now at the end, you feel for him so much. Oh, like whenever he was talking to, like he went and he was in the classroom with his little sister, and you know that he wants to learn, but because of I feel like in many ways he just has bad luck. I feel like he really has bad luck. And he's just been dealt just a crappy hand. And I feel like he's got to make the best of it. And that's what, in some ways, he does. I don't think killing people's, making the best of it. But I did have a lot of respect for him and trying to provide for them and everything with like Lucius, and that I liked him. I liked the blind man who turns out was freaking best friends with the Demon King, who turned out married Hanalea. What? It was really, really sad whenever Han came back and Lucius thought he was dead, and he was like saying that there was nothing he could do and that, the boy's dead, whenever Han like faked his death with like the bloody clothes on the beach. Oh, and with that, the demon kind of freaky guys that I still don't, at first I thought it was because like they had touched the amulet, so it's like anyone that touches it will die from these like demon wizards. But besides Han, because he's special, or because the cuffs, I didn't know at that point. But now, isn't it like, didn't Lord Bayer say that he's the one that's been sending them? So all of these people, and some of them weren't friends, like Shiv or whatever his name was. Obviously he wasn't a friend to Han, but still, it's just sad that he had to die like that. And they were like kids. They're like teenagers. They're not old at all. And I know that lifestyle, Han said that most people don't grow old, but like with Kat and everything. Did you guys like the 2 points of view though? Did you like Raisa? Did you like her? I liked her. I feel like I will grow to like her more though, maybe in the later books. I want her to like get out, and I was so happy when she escaped, but then everything kind of went wrong. And I was so happy when her and Han met up finally, because we just keep having these two POVs, and I was just waiting for when they would meet up. And of course it was, this Rebecca girl, that's who he decided to kidnap. And everyone around him's just like about to pee their pants because he has no clue that he's about to kidnap the princess. But they're all shaking in their boots, hoping he doesn't figure out who she is. And I actually love that part. I was kind of hoping it would last longer and that she would like never return to her mother and all the terrible stuff. I felt like there were a lot of similarities between Throne of Glass and this book. I don't know really what it was. I just had the same kind of feel for it. And with some of the characters, and then the magic, and then the princess with like the secret little door behind her wardrobe thing. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Throne of Glass. What do you guys think of Amon? Amon? A-man? I like him. I feel like I'm still a little confused about the whole Captain of the Guard special magical linking thing with the Queen and Princess. It confused me a little bit, the whole gray wolf thing. Definitely was a plot twist I didn't see coming with Amon and Raisa. They obviously have feelings for one another, but I don't really know what's going to develop out of that. I feel like nothing is really going to happen. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Oh, that's another thing. I like that there was like a touch of romance in this book, but it was for sure not the main like plot point, and I really like that. Anything to do with like princesses and magic and then just like a hint of romance is what I like. So if any of you have recommendations, more recommendations for me, you should let me know. What did you guys think of Han's cuffs? Did you think that he was a wizard? Did you figure it out and you thought that it was like soaking up the magic or something? I definitely thought that he was gonna turn into this like wizard hunter, or I figured he would have something to do with the wizards because, you know, how it was set up, but I didn't think he was a wizard. And with everything, yeah, I feel like that was done really well, and maybe all of you guessed it. Maybe I'm the only one that didn't. But then even at the end though, okay, so at the end, whenever they're talking about the Demon King, the story comes out, I figured it out at that point, obviously, that it's Han, and I was freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, he is a wizard. But then he says it's Dancer. I'm like, no, it's you, it's not Dancer, it's you. So I am kind of excited that they are together though, since they're best friends, they can go to, what is it, Odin's Ford together, because Dancer was having such a hard time with it, which I mean is understandable. So it's kind of interesting that how the clans, how they stand on magic. It's weird that they are like one with nature and they kind of have their own form of magic, but then they, you know, make these amulets for the wizards. And I do admit that I am confused by some of the stuff. I feel like this stuff will just kind of, I'll figure it out as I continue to read. But any great fantasy story, I'm usually confused about a few of the points. Like when I read The Lord of the Rings for the first time, I was confused about quite a few of the points. Also, I was pretty young when I read it. But yeah, that's when I know it's good, is when I'm not like, and I'm immersed in it and I'm interested and I'm like, what is this? It's all new to me and it's just cool. That's how I was with the Throne of Glass series too. I want to know though how much you guys guessed. I want to know if you guys guessed he was a wizard or what. But I'm really excited to see what happens to Han. Like, it sounds like he's going to be really powerful, and I'm just really excited to see what comes out of that, I guess. You guys should let me know what your favorite part was, your favorite character. I definitely love the part when the princess escapes and she's like running around town and her and Han are together. He like kidnaps her. I think that was one of my favorite parts, probably. Really, I loved it. The ending's really upsetting, obviously, with Han's mother and sister, but I am excited for him to leave and to just leave it all behind him and get away from the Bears and hopefully get to Odin's Ford and learn how to control his magic. I think he decided very quickly. I feel like he went with it pretty well. He's just like, all right, let's do this. I feel like revenge has a lot to do with that, though. I think he just really is excited to potentially have the power to destroy Lord Bayer. And I think he's going to go back and get some of the Queen's soldiers and things that have, like the people that burned down his house and the people that used to just beat him up, and Gillen or whatever his name is. I'm sure he'll be back, and all those terrible people. That's all I had to say about this. There's more I want to say, but we'll talk more in the comments. Go down and tell me your favorite character, your favorite part, all of that good stuff. I'm excited to start the Exiled Queen, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!